Hey guys, Cam315 back at it with another video for you guys, and I am back with another Blue Box episode review for you guys. The episode before the new episode comes out tomorrow of Blue Box. Um, and realistically, honestly, I'm very excited to see where tomorrow's episode is going to go. Because based off what this happens this week's episode, I think if you played sports in high school, you all been there. You've all been there to where you think you're going into this tournament very confident, you're gonna win and everything, and the next thing you know, boom. You kind of get a check of reality and you end up kind of not playing up to the level that you thought you were going to. In a weird way, you see somebody else succeed that you know, and it kind of makes you a little bit upset and sad and everything. But that's kind of what happens in this week's episode, or last week's episode of Blue Box. We just have it to where Taiki, he's preparing, it's coming up to where he's getting to his chance to go into the tournament and hopefully make nationals, and he kind of gets a check of reality, the fact that, yeah, he's gotten better, but he isn't good enough. And we even see it to where like Haryu senpai, he ends up going up against somebody that he's went up against countless times throughout his high school career, and he hasn't beat this one guy. This one guy's just better than he is. So that's the thing. We start the episode off where it's like he's kind of doing like this routine stretching like activity or whatever, and Shinatsu sees this and she starts to do it with him. They kind of talk about, you know, how she'll prepare for her basketball tournament, and then how he's going to do, and she's like, so what's your what's the thing in terms of like scoring a point or something? And he's like, oh, we just call it a score or something. And she's like, oh, go score. And it kind of gives him some confidence. I'm like, okay. He's going to get some confidence. It's going to help him out and everything. It's going to be good. So around the first batch of episodes, or the first bat of the episode, it's like him and Haruyu essentially doing like this tag team tournament. What is it? And or like a duos tournament together, like they've been doing together. And basically they're doing pretty well and everything. And again, Taiki's going through with pretty high confidence because remember, from the last episode, he was getting some points on Haruyu. Now there was this one group that they look over, Haruyu looks over, and Taiki's just wondering like, who the heck is this group? And it's basically two guys that are from a different school, a rival school of their school, and Haruyu hasn't beat, I forgot the dude's name, but he hasn't beat one of the dudes, whether it's in like doubles or singles straight up, and his goal is to try to beat him and everything, right? So they get to that area and everything, and well, they end up losing. They just get outmatched. Like, this guy's hitting shots that Haruyu is having even trouble keeping up with. Like, we would see how good he is, and we're like, okay, he might be like one of the best players out there. You know, but no, this guy has him outmatched and everything. And we later find out like there's like a freshman on their team that I would envision is gonna eventually, throughout the course of, I guess, the show's run based on how our series run, how based on however long it is, and I don't know if it's still like an ongoing series. I could see it where like that's Taiki's gonna be like Taiki's rival in badminton, where he has to overcome, and maybe like at the end of the story he does overcome him and everything, and he finally gets to nationals. Like, that would be a good story or everything. Or maybe he does get to nationals, but he has to fight against him, but he does the thing that his old senpai couldn't, and that's beat somebody that may be better than him. But they say like that dude, he's got even more potential than what the guy that's been giving Haruyu a lot of problems that he hasn't beat. Like, they said he's got even more potential than him, because I think they had like a sparring match and he even caught him by surprise a few times. He didn't win, but it got to the point like, okay, I actually had to work to beat you, which that means it's crazy, because whatever school work, coaching they got over there, that means it must be damn good. But they lose and everything. That's when Taiki ended up meeting the guy, and they're kind of like, oh, blah 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 blah, because he like gives him his wallet and everything, and then he walks off. So then here comes the day for singles, And Taiki's all pumped and happy and everything, and he thinks, and he has this promise with Haruyu that he's like, don't lose to anybody until you come across me or something like that, or if you come across me in the finals. And well, that doesn't exactly happen because it's the first round. Taiki's going up against the one individual that we saw earlier, and he absolutely just got beat pretty bad, actually, pretty bad. And his basically run in the tournament is over. That's it. You know, you have it to where Hina shows up and she was there to go celebrate and cheer him on. And she's like asking like his friend and the other players on the team, like, hey, why is he just standing over there, like, helping out? Like, isn't he getting ready for another match or something? And everything. And they're just like, oh, he lost. And she's like, oh, well, like, surely there's gonna be another match for him, right? And they're just like, no, this is just single elimination. That's what happens in these tournaments. Sometimes people work their asses off to get so hard to get to this point, and then shit, they get first round exited. I play football, high school football. You get all the way to the playoffs, right? And maybe you're not a team that makes the playoffs all too often, but you're one of those teams that makes the playoffs, the CIF playoffs, because I live in California. And guess what? You could be one and done. You get to the playoffs and that's it. Boom. It's like as if you're a senior, the last 3 years of your high school life, you were playing varsity football, you never made the playoffs, and then you finally work your way and help this team get to the playoffs in your first year as a senior, and boom, you're out. And then guess what? Your high school career is done. And that's what they were telling Hina. They're like, yeah, people work their asses off, and sometimes that's what happens. Boom, you get knocked out first round, and it sucks because I'm just like, damn, this must be eating. I'm watching the episode, I'm like, this must be eating at him, man, because he really did work. We saw like the first 6 episodes, he was really working his tail off from where he grew, and the fact that all that hard work in a weird way, kind of like, in his eyes, you could say like maybe didn't even pay off, right? And everything. So regardless, he goes back. You can clearly tell he's upset, he's frustrated, and he's probably on the verge of like maybe even crying that, he did all this work and it really amounted to probably, in his eyes, maybe nothing because he didn't even win a match, right? He didn't even get a game in his set, right? And Hina comes over, kind of cheers him up a bit. And it's like, oh, I made this food and everything. So, clearly you can tell, like, all right, she's making this food because she likes him and everything. And she was going to go there to support him. And she was wearing this pretty cute dress and everything. She was willing to go out there and support him for reals, right? But, he's eventually eats and then he walks off and everything. It's like, I'll catch you later and everything. So then at the end of the episode, he walks back home. He overhears his mom and Shinatsu talking, and it seems like Chinatsu moved on and she succeeded in beating the team that I guess she couldn't overcome the hump over, or get over the hump over. And this gets him really emotional and everything. And he's like, I'm happy that she managed to do what she needed to do. And I think she said she got to nationals or whatever. It's been a while since I watched the episode, but all I do know is she went. But at the same time, as he's overhearing this, he's getting very emotional because it's like, well, I'm happy that she did this, but I didn't exactly do too good. And in kind of a weird and instead of like just walking in and just saying like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how's everybody doing? And then they could ask him like, what's going on? And then maybe like Shinatsu and his mother could like cheer him up, be like, oh, well, I'm sorry that happened, And I think Shinatsu would obviously something a lot more like caring than she did the first time, because you remember early on she said, well, there's always next year, you always got like 3 more years essentially, right? And that was kind of an insensitive comment at the time, but like I think she would say something more knowing like it's gonna be okay. And I feel like tomorrow's episode, Barney doesn't get delayed for whatever reason, but I don't think it's gonna get delayed. Maybe she'll go out there and she'll go find him and try to cheer him up and ask him if he's okay, because we have it to where, albeit he's happy for her, deep down, it's eating at him. And listen, people get like this. I get like this, where it's like I'm happy for somebody that, they got what they wanted and they're moving on in whatever aspect that they're doing. But then I look at myself and it's like, well, then damn, like, what more else could I have done, you know, to do this, especially in like my career, seeing other people get jobs. I'm not saying I'm envious for them, but I am happy for them getting the jobs that they want to go get and everything, and getting the jobs they need to get. But I also look at myself and I'm like, okay, then like, when is my moment gonna happen? When I'm gonna be the person to get the job and blah 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 blah, blah, right? Um, so there's that. And then he just leaves and he just runs off and everything. And that's where the episode ends off. So you can see he's very disappointed. It's, he's upset. And, I have a feeling like this will be a moment, again, another relationship building moment for him and Chinatsu, where she goes out to find him and she has a talk with him and just comforts him in his time of need. And maybe it gets to the point where he starts getting emotional. He cries in her arms and everything. It's like, I tried my hardest and everything, and I still lost in the first round. Because you could clearly tell, like, he was gonna cry. He was going to just break down before even Hina showed up and just probably get emotional and just be like, I worked my ass off and I lost in the first round. As for Haruyu, he ended up losing to the same guy that he's always been losing to strictly. He just got outmatched. He got outmatched. I thought like, okay, maybe they have it to where he finally beats him. No, no. That's the thing. And I think I said like that guy, like this is gonna be like his last journey. He's just gonna retire straight up from doing badminton, which is crazy because it's like like if you're doing badminton, you should be training for like the Olympics or something. But solid episode. It's gonna be very interesting to see what happens next week. I definitely can see another Taiki and Shinatsu moment where she comforts him in a time of need where he definitely needs it. And maybe she can say something, words of encouragement, that gets him to snap out of it all and everything. Because you can't blame him. He worked his ass off for like all these weeks and months and everything, and to see that he gets to the tournament and he's just a first round exit, like that probably make you pretty depressed. That probably make you pretty upset and sad. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts, hit that subscribe button if you want to get more blue box content or any other anime content upload to the channel. Till then guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day. Peace.